King Bolt, narrow-hipped and white of shoulder, with that gambling gait, came sauntering out of the tunnel into the Olympic Stadium with arms spread wide, as if he were embracing all of the love from the crowd. Forget the NBA players on the United States team and their pretentious assertions that they could not stay in the athletes' village here because of their extreme popularity. Bolt is arguably the most popular athlete on the planet, and he left his room in that same village Sunday night to assert his dominance one last time. For the final of the 100 meters, Usain Bolt stood 2 lanes from his longtime rival, the American Justin Gatlin, a fine runner whose destiny has been to play Joe Frazier to Bolt's charismatic Muhammad Ali. The two men did not so much as glance sideways at each other. The gun sounded, and Gatlin, the technically brilliant sprinter, flew off the blocks, head down, his legs digging. Bolt stands 6 feet 5 inches, and he spent his first strides pulling together his elegant moving parts. What went through his mind as Gatlin sped down the track? Bolt smiled at the question. Perhaps he was sheepish, perhaps he didn't really care. I told myself, listen, don't panic. Take your time, chip away, and work your way back in, he said. He began to take those long, American throw strides. When I got to 50 meters, Bolt said, I knew I was going to catch him. And he did. Bolt claimed gold in the 100 meters for the 3rd Summer Olympics in a row, reaffirming his unofficial title as the fastest man in the world. No other man or woman has accomplished the feat, and to celebrate, Bolt shot off a few pantomime arrows. His showdown with Gatlin, and his victory, carried a powerful sense of history passing. Bolt turns 30 on Sunday, the last day of these Olympic Games, and he has said he will retire at the end of the next racing year. His departure will present a challenge for track and field, the beautiful sport that has been plagued by declining attendance and spotty television ratings. Bolt's story reads like a reverie. He came out of the hills of Jamaica, from a place called Sherwood Content. He was a high school running prodigy who came to own a restaurant in the nation's capital, Kingston, as well as sporting goods stores. Surrounded by 4 dozen sweaty reporters, he can sound as relaxed as a man reclining in a bungalow. He also has a natural charmer's ability when talking about himself and his charisma, sounding as matter-of-fact as if he were discussing the weather. This is why I came here, to the Olympics, to prove to the world that I'm the best, again, he said at a packed news conference well past midnight. It always feels good to go out on top, you know what I mean. It's fair to say the scribes in this audience would have to take Bolt's word on that one. Gatlin is 34, older than Bolt, and he has made no retirement pronouncements. He lost for years to a doping suspension, and his hunger for victories and to make up for time lost has been palpable. He is almost certainly competing in the Olympics for the last time as a top-tier sprinter. Replay, how Usain Bolt won the 100 meters. Bolt surged in the last 40 meters to beat Justin Gatlin of the United States. Gatlin, who took the silver medal in the 100, can't shy from talk of vulnerability, fearing that it would inculcate weakness. I don't put limits on myself, he said in early July. As a kid, I thought if I could move my feet fast enough, I could run on water. On Sunday night, in defeat, Gatlin acknowledged that everyone falls into the water eventually. I'm 34, and I'll be the oldest sprinter ever on a podium, he said. I'm just happy to be here. Nothing about the past 6 years has been easy for Gatlin. Some precincts of the running news media delight in casting his battle with Bolt in Manichaean terms, darkness versus light. If Bolt is the knight errant, Gatlin is cast, reductively, as his opposite, a dark avenger. As reporters crowded the news media room late Sunday, awaiting the rivals, 2 British reporters shared notes on their dislike of the American runner. If there's sympathy, one said, it will be played on the smallest violin imaginable. The assumption of the writers was that Gatlin was still doping. Yet the United States Anti-Doping Agency has tested him repeatedly and without warning, and for 6 years he's cleared those hurdles. Gold Jamaican Usain Bolt 9.81 silver United States Houston Gatlin 9.89 bronze Canada Andrew D. Gross 9.91 for Jamaica Jemio Handley 9.935 South Africa Zakani Simpine 9.9 for 6 Cote d'Ivoire Sylvain Youssef Nate 9.967 Francis Fragile Vicot 10.048 United States Traven Bromel 10.06 I would be wise to embrace caution here, and to heed my own ignorance. Testing regimens are far stronger than in decades past, but only a fool would claim to know definitively if the runner is doping. Gatlin was trapped in a cul-de-sac. If he had won Sunday night, the connoisseur would have said victory proved the aging sprinter was doping, or still benefiting from his decade-old use of performance-enhancing drugs. Instead, after he failed to beat Bolt, some in the news media muttered that Gatlin lacked a champion's heart. It called to mind the medieval test for a woman accused of witchcraft, tied her to a chair, and lowered her into a pond. If she lives, she is a devil's spawn; if she dies, she is God's child. Perhaps the rivals could yet do each other a favor. Elite runners have fallen into an unfortunate habit of avoiding races that pit the best sprinters against one another. During the 2015 season, Gatlin laid down near record times. Yet he and Bolt ran against each other just once, at the end of the season. This year, too, the men have met only once, at the Olympics. This is silliness. Sprinters are natural gunslingers, or archers, in Bolt's case. We cannot necessarily call them friends; they sat on the podium without embracing or making eye contact. But each speaks of the other with respect. He's pushed me to be the athlete I am today, and I hope he would say the same of me, Gatlin said. I've given him the best races he's had in all of his career. Wouldn't it be a brilliant coda for Bolt and Gatlin to face off in the next racing season? They could run and run, from Qatar to China to Europe, until Bolt, the greatest sprinter of all, moves into history's shadow, perhaps followed soon after by his rival.